So today we're going to go over how to do a custom CSV upload. It's something that you're able to do on your own just within your tools for contacts, candidates, and leads. It has to be a person. They have to be mapped out to actual fields that exist in your Bullhorn. So that would be the number one thing to kind of keep in mind. There is a custom template that Bullhorn recommends that you use. Looks a little bit something like this. There are going to be columns that you don't need, like a personal email that might be more relevant for candidates. These are clients that we're going to put in the system today. If you do have any columns that you're going to skip, I recommend just deleting them. If there's any information missing in any of the columns at all, so if something's filled in here but it's null in both of these, nothing in this column is going to be uploaded into the system. So it won't just skip the ones that are blank, unfortunately. There has to be data in there for everything. So if you do have information in one row that is important, I recommend just writing something like null or unknown in the other column so that the important information actually gets into the system. But for now, we can delete this stuff. Some of it you might want to delete just because it's not important. Some of it you need to delete because you don't have maybe a field for alternate phone or fax. So you're going to want to delete those just to make the import A, a little bit faster, and B, it'll be less things to map out in a second, which you'll see. Make sure that the phone numbers are work phone, mobile. Make sure that those are the ones that you actually want in the system. Normally, I would recommend deleting the first name, last name, company, all of the titles here, but it's a little bit easier to have these in here and then just delete it later because this is actually going to upload as a person. So the person's first name is going to say first name, last name, so on and so forth. But when you are mapping it out, it's going to make a whole lot more sense to have this go in here and then just go in and delete that fake person after the fact. So number one, I think, biggest problem when uploading the CSV is the way that it's saved. So you're going to want to make sure that you save it as a CSV right here. It's normally going to save as an Excel workbook. That's going to cause it to error out. So you want to make sure that it's CSV. I even sometimes just do this so I know in case I have multiple versions of it. New customer, import CSV, save, replace it, yes. And then go on into your Bullhorn. So it's going to be under menu, tools, and custom import. I also save a favorite for what I want this to look like. So these are all of my clients under my ownership. You can see that under user. The reason that I do this is because I want the name, first name, last name, email, company, all of the important stuff from the Excel spreadsheet I want to have up here. Then I'm going to run it by date added so I can see all the people that went in, make sure that they went in correctly, if there's anything I need to add. This will make it a little bit easier to do that down the line. You might not even want to narrow it down by user, but this is just kind of my default list. So we can look at it a little bit later and it'll make more sense. So like I said earlier, you can do this for a candidate, lead, or a contact. For now, we're going to do a contact. I do recommend saving a template in the future. If you do end up only using these columns every single time and you don't intend to add anything or remove anything from it for contacts, I have a couple of templates here, test and candidates from discover.org. That's just going to save the mapping, which you'll see in a second. So if we choose a file, CSV, continue, this is all of the mapping. So this is actually why this first column here, I actually recommend keeping. It's this for the first little bit because it's easier just to do it. So client import in case I want to save it for the future, which I probably do. This seems like pretty standard information for a client. And then you have to go through the whole first name, last name. That's important as well. So email 1 is a field that I have. If you see this, it's email 1. If you see in here, it's email 1. I'm going to leave that blank so that you can see what to do with it. Looks like I don't have country. Probably going to want to delete that in the future. We do have work phone, I believe. Work phone. Mobile phone. None. Perform import. So this is a duplicate because someone, or maybe even myself, at some point uploaded first name, last name, company, that fake kind of default user that shows up, and didn't delete it. So they still exist in the system because there is a duplicate checker. You can actually shut off the duplicate checker specifically for custom imports. It's not going to shut anything off for resume parsing or anything like that, but you can shut it off for customers should you want to. You can actually do that in your system settings. If a contact is not in a company that exists in your system, Bullhorn will still upload it. Bose Corporation and Reebok do exist in my list here as well as in the system. But if it's not in the system, it'll actually upload still. It'll still import, but it'll do it with TBD as the company name. So that's also something you're going to want to have to look for afterward, and then maybe create the company profile just to make sure that your data is clean, but the details will still go in just under TBD. So something to keep in mind. Also, I mentioned this earlier, but if a column is missing any information, none of the information will go in. So it's still a good idea to make sure to go back into your Excel spreadsheet and also into your Bullhorn and make sure that all of the right columns are there. You'll see that some of the things that I skipped are not here, right? So occupation, email, full address, city. I specifically didn't have country in here, so I skipped it. And it's not actually showing up in here at all. So that's kind of what I mean as well. So if there's no field for it and you click none, you're basically recommending or suggesting to Bullhorn that you don't want that information to be brought in. And so it won't be. So everything that is filled out here is something that exists. It's something that I actually had a field mapped to. No mapping won't go in. So keep all of that in mind. Success, 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 duplicate. Now we can go into our columns, see if we can search for one of the people on this list. Okay, everyone is a character from The Office, so we can see a couple of them right here. Date added, we want to make sure that that is filtered as well. Obviously, that's important. This is all today. This is one of the fake people. Obviously, that's one of the columns from the Excel spreadsheet, so we're going to want to just delete that as a person, as long as you have the ability to delete. If not, contact a manager or whoever does have the ability to delete records, because we just want to clean that up. Not that it's going to make a huge difference. It's very obviously not a real person, but at least you can delete that. And then here is Dwight, Kevin, and Pam with all of the necessary information. You'll see that it did map to Reebok, and to Bose Corporation. And the status is imported. So you'll have to go in and either change them to a new lead or a prospect or even active, depending on where that CSV came from in the first place. That part's up to you. But that is the basics of the CSV upload.